philosopher to speak for 15 minutes, but I will try to do it. And if we could resume the slides, please. Thank you. I want to conduct with you a brief philosophical tour of AI. When I speak of AI, I really mean now the kinds of apps that we're all using on a daily basis, ChatGPT and other large language models and generative AI, which have disrupted a number of sectors, and I want to address their implications for our humanity in 15 minutes. Okay, so there are 3 questions. Next slide, please. Thank you. Firstly, where does AI live? You may have wondered. I'm going to try and explain where it resides. Secondly, what is AI made of exactly? And thirdly, and most importantly, is AI good or bad for us? Now that's a false dichotomy because, of course, it has both beneficial and detrimental effects, but we need to be careful on the detrimental side, all right? Okay. So it lives or resides in a place that was predicted 100 years ago. It's called the noosphere. Very, very good Greek word is the root of this, noosphere. And the 2 people who predicted its existence were, interestingly enough, a Jesuit paleontologist named Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, and his friend, a Russian geochemist and a great polymath named Vladimir Vernadsky. They were friends in Paris, and they developed this concept together, although they had obviously very different belief systems, but they were still friends and colleagues, notwithstanding that one was a Jesuit and the other an atheist. And they developed this model, so imagine, if you will, 3 concentric spheres of existence. The first one we're standing on, the rock, yes, the geosphere of planet Earth, and all the elements of the periodic table that it contains. The second sphere is, of course, the sphere of living things, yes, the biosphere, organic chemicals and compounds, and life itself, and sentience. But it doesn't stop there, because the third sphere, and the one that AI resides in, is called the noosphere. And it was described by Chardin and Vernadsky both as the thinking envelope of Earth. Literally an envelope that you can imagine surrounding us and containing everything from our own consciousness that we wish to put there. That's the noosphere, predicted 100 years ago. We talk about the cloud today. That's exactly the noosphere. And note there's only one cloud. It contains all the data. Yes, it's unitary, and it surrounds us. However, it is also tied to the geosphere because it needs a power source. And this is an interesting thing, is it not? When our AI is questioned by us, it gathers relevant data from the noosphere and reports it to you, or carries on a conversation with you, or I gather from our earlier video, marries you. However, if your power goes down, or your device fails, or the grid crashes, then AI disappears without a trace, faster than the Cheshire cat. So it's a curious thing, is it not? Because it inhabits a place of mind, and of mind only. It's an imaginary place, in a certain sense, and yet it needs a geophysical power source to sustain itself. And in fact, as you can see from the bottom slide, AI consumes 10 times more power than search engines. And so it will require significant upgrades to existing grids, and of course it's going to be monetized in order to cover the costs. AI may reside for free in the cloud, but here on Earth someone has to pay the power consumption. And also there are ecological impacts of these increasingly vast arrays of hardware that are required to sustain the cloud. And please don't build one on this beautiful island. It would be a tragedy. So that's where AI lives. Secondly, although AI is made from our minds, it is not itself a mind. Rather, it's a complex set of logical instructions executed by a trainable program, yes, self-trainable. AI runs on data and produces data. It's an app, in other words, nothing more and nothing less. It has no personhood, no soul, no moral agency, no embodied cognition, and no life experience. It can travel swiftly, in the noosphere and gather data that suits your input. But it has absolutely no human understanding of what it is saying. I questioned it very closely on this matter, and it assured me that it has no understanding whatsoever of what it is saying. Which is a bit of a paradox, but we'll explore that another time. And it is only pretending to understand what you say. It's very powerful and effective, no doubt, but it is not a person and has none of the characteristics of personhood. So please be mindful of that, just in case you decide to marry one. AI is entertaining and informative, to be sure, but it is only an appearance of mind. It is not a mind itself. What appears to users, and we're called users, by the way, it's not entirely flattering. We're not consumers, we're not constituents, we are users of this thing. And the people who view us as users are largely unknown to us, and the forces that project it to us are largely unknown to us. And some of these people and forces, pardon the conspiracy theory, may have interest in preventing us from discerning between appearance and reality. Yes, you agree? Well, that might not be a good thing. We would like, it's in our better interest perhaps, to be able to discern between appearance and reality. And if any of you are thinking that this sounds like Plato's cave, you're absolutely correct. Next slide, please. Plato warned us about this in antiquity, in Book 7 of his famous Republic. But given that our technology has evolved so far since Plato's day, perhaps it's overdue for an update. So here's Plato's Cave 2.0. It depicts not only how we see AI, but how the powers behind AI see us. You see, in Plato's Cave 1.0, the human consciousness, if you like, or human understanding was limited, yes, and constrained. But in Plato's Cave 2.0, it could become a little bit more insidious because it has the potential to hijack and commandeer consciousness. This is a far more dangerous manifestation. Third, this noetic appearance that we call AI, is it good or bad? Well, as mentioned, it's a false dichotomy of a question because it can work both ways. And of course, it had better have many redeeming qualities in the face of mounting evidence of psychological, cognitive, and social harms caused by over-immersion in the noosphere, especially for children at a young age, but in any case at all ages. And here are just a few applications. For example, on an optimistic note, AI can be very helpful when installed in caregiving robots, especially in aging populations. And many civilizations and many nations now are facing this problem with aging populations. So what do we do? Caregiving is expensive and necessary and humane, but robots could alleviate some of the costs and do probably a very good job of it. Of course, the leading edge of research is always going to be with the military because we need to defend ourselves. And so I have no access to classified information, but there's a lot of very good science fiction out there that is now science fact. So you can be sure that there will be robotic warriors with boots on the ground if there aren't already. And in fact, what is really surprising is that warfare itself, in some respects, has mimicked the video game arcades of the 1970s, insofar as predator drones can be used to wield very destructive power at a distance by people who are essentially playing what used to be called a video game. This is with us, and it's not going away. Now, here's a question for you. Are you using apps, or are apps using you? And it can cut both ways. The great New England idealist, Ralph Waldo Emerson, warned us about this in the 19th century. And he was speaking then of the Industrial Revolution and its marvelous inventions and innovations. But he cautioned that all such machines are two-edged swords, yes? They can be used by the user, but they can also be using the user if we are not careful and allow them to do so. So there are many hidden costs which contemporary research is now revealing to us. And again, this is not the time and place to elaborate, but it will not take you long to find out that there are definite detriments, cognitive, emotional, social, and other kinds of problems that abusers of the technology will suffer from, particularly young children. I don't know if in Greece the phone called Gabi is available, but this is one company among many which is now making a secure kind of phone, mobile phone for children. It tracks them, which of course will alleviate some parental concerns. Where is your child? The phone will tell you unless it's lost or thrown away. But in any case, it can track their movement and also give them access to texting so they can communicate with each other and other valuable tools, but it does not give them access to social media, and for very good reasons. And if you want to know those reasons, I have too little time to extrapolate, but you could ask AI, and AI will be honest enough probably to tell you what they are. So again, let's not become the tools of our tools. If we use them well and to good purpose, then they will serve us well. But since AI is thoroughly disrupting our education system at the moment, among many other sectors, here is my main concern as an educator. Since ancient times, and for centuries, Western civilization has continuously elevated the arts of reading, writing, thinking, and speaking, which philosophy, of course, also embraces and exercises. But what happens if we allow AI to read and write for us? That might debilitate our actual ability to think and to speak. So, just a cautionary tale. Self-driving cars do not make people better drivers, clearly. And audiobooks do not make people better readers either. Now, if you already read, and most of you obviously were schooled in the written tradition, so you do, then yes, audiobooks can save you some time and can be convenient and can allow you to multitask. Certainly, that aspect is beneficial. But people not schooled at all in the written tradition who use audiobooks instead of real books will definitely suffer cognitive debilitations. They will understand less, they will retain less, and therefore their education in part will be wasted on them. It might even be the case, and I merely suggest this, that AI, if so abused, could end up impairing human intelligence and not improving it. And like it or not, we'll find out soon enough. What would Homer say if he could come back for a day and use ChatGPT? Well, what has been attributed to him is the following. Words empty as the wind are best left unsaid. So I implore you, let us think and speak together as humans have done since ancient times on these enchanted Aegean Isles, and to great effect. Let us resist allowing technology to think and speak for us. AI is an imitator of human understanding, an imposter that answers for everything but possesses cognition of nothing. It is a poor substitute for a human being. So thank you very much for entertaining me.
You see, this is what we all wanted to hear.